Welcome and good evening to Adventures in DeFi Kingdoms. This is Raph streaming to you live, high above the keep in the hot air balloon. Tonight, as always, Neindorf, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
Excellent. Well, great to have you on the podcast. It's been a while since we've streamed. We've been in the lab, and we'll talk a little more once we get to our guild news a bit later in the podcast. Any questions of the day? Well, actually, let's before we get to question of the day, how you been? We haven't chatted in a while. What's new in the Neindorf life?
Yeah, we're doing pretty good. We've kind of got a lot of fall birthdays, so that's kind of what's been going on around our household, and even some of our friends too. We may have bumped into each other at some of those birthdays.
Yes, we did. Yeah, that's I hear you with the fall birthdays. It's kind of fun. We're doing a lot of fall parenting activities. Taking the kids to pumpkin patches. I think we got a apple orchard on the docket for this weekend. So, but I don't mind. I like fall. I like the crisp, kind of cold Midwest air. Although it's 22 degrees when we woke up this morning. So,
Don't worry, it's going to be almost 80 this weekend. It's fine.
yeah, uh, uh, temperamental Midwest for sure. Well, yeah, I'll give you an update. I'll climb onto the therapy couch here,
Yes.
which is the podcast. It looks like the deal for our house is going through. We're buying we're looking at buying the money pit, and I think that's gonna happen. So pretty excited. We figured things out with extending the lock on our interest rate, and we have a prospective buyer for our house. Inspection went off this week, and we have a closing date set. So that's about a month from today. Pretty excited about it. Glad to finally have some finality to this decision that's been in the works now for what feels like 6 months.
Oh yeah, I understand that completely. That's a big decision, big move. I love it. You'll have to keep us informed.
Yeah, for sure. So we have, I believe now, we got a surprise guest that here for all of you. Ogre, how you doing?
Doing well, thanks yourself. It's actually not me, it's an imposter.
Uh,
Yeah, great to have you on the line here. We got a really exciting podcast for today. So, how are you doing? What's new in your life? It's been a while since we've hung out.
I'm doing well, thanks. I actually I've been working, as you guys know, kind of out in Ethereum. I kind of went away from Harmony there, and in NFT communities is one thing that I've been doing, and just talking to some other projects on other chains, looking at a few other chains. And I've set up a Twitter space with some of the Ethereum communities for tomorrow at 2:30 Central Time. So like right after the AMA, basically, I'll go start it up, and then we'll kick it off about a half hour after the AMA is over. Other than that, I mean, it's just been kind of trying to figure out the bear market, man. This is not fun. I don't like it.
No,
no
not at
doubt.
all. We recently got through the a successful, I would say, DeFi Kingdoms vote, and hopefully that has a positive impact on yourself. I know you were one who was in the hack that happened, so I hope that plays at least a partial role in helping you figure out the bear market.
I mean, well, thank you, of course, to everybody out there, and for having me up here and having me on, for that matter, guys. Appreciate
Yeah.
you. Um, yeah, as far as that goes, like that's to a degree, I don't even think of that as real. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
because I don't have it,
Right.
right? And who knows when we're gonna have it, and what's gonna happen between now and then. It was a blessing, that's for sure, and
Yeah.
definitely took a huge stress off of me and made me a much happier person for sure.
I bet.
Uh, yeah, it was definitely huge. But it's like I don't know, it's weird. It like hasn't hit me,
Hmm.
I guess. I mean, it has, if that makes sense, but at the same time, like I mean, once I have it in my ledger and I can see it and be like, yeah, okay, it's actually there,
It,
like that's a different story. You know what I mean?
yeah, and yeah, just kind of having the the vote go through is one part, having it in the ledger is another part, and coming out of the bear market probably is just as important third part too. So how do you I kind of want to digress from some of our typical programming for a moment, and how do you stay focused in the bear market? And we'll talk a little more about some community projects, well, aka guilds, the thing that Neindorf and I are working on. But actually, the funny thing where we started this podcast, well, it was before the podcast, before we started recording, just before you jumped on, we were kind of talking about how it can be a little exhausting inside the bear market, and especially when we're working on some not quite community facing activities yet. I don't know, at least for me it feels like not having some of that feedback, I feel like I'm almost toiling away to a certain extent. How are you keeping are you keeping your mindset? How are you bearing through this from kind of a mental perspective?
Well, I mean, I was fortunate with my life experiences that I've been through some stuff. So I'm real good at compartmentalizing stuff and just kind of putting it on a shelf and putting it away. If that makes any sense. I mean,
Yeah.
that's how I managed in the first place when I lost it. I'd like to be a few days later, I'd be like, "Brr, happy days, 5% got burned." It's like, because you know what? It's over. It's done. I can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Put it away. Yeah. So I'm able to do that a bit. And that definitely, I think, helps in this bear market. It's just kind of like one day at a time. Look for something to be happy about and pursue that, and stress about what you need to when you need to.
That feels like
Yeah.
a very stoic mindset.
Well,
I yeah,
worry about
I've
what you can control too, right?
that right there. I mean, it's what is it? The Serenity Prayer, I think. It's oh, I'm gonna mess it all up now.
Don't worry,
It's like, give me
we'll tell you if you
the
do.
wisdom to no, the wisdom comes at the end. No, that's the middle one. The strength to deal with the things I cannot change, the courage to change that which I can, and then the courage or the wisdom
And the
to know the
wisdom to
difference or
know
something
the
like that.
difference between the two. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Paraphrased, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't quite expect us to go down this turn, but I'll open up a bit. Actually, in my college days, I had a bit of a strange experience, I guess. There was a part of my life where I had no money to my name, bills stacking up against me, medical bills, to the point where I lost a phone, and I thought I was going to lose my housing as well. But I've had a great guy in my life that goes by the name of Neindorf,
Like, what?
who spotted me for a
Nice.
while. One of those situations where I ended up taking on like four different jobs in a summer, just like trying to take on income to survive. And I think I found a little bit of and I guess it feels like a bit of a muscle to me, and one that's perhaps atrophied a bit over time, but had definitely tapped into the ability to compartmentalize during that period of time, and fortunately have been blessed, very blessed in my life, that I haven't had to go there in a while. So yeah, I well, I wish you the best, and I think it's something that something I want to spend more time talking about, openly, is more like the mental health aspects of crypto spaces. I feel like, and markets in general, I feel like that should hopefully be overall good. Whether it was COVID, the bear market, I think mental health has been something that's it's done a number on a lot of us out there, and I don't know. I for one feel like there's some positivity in talking about it.
No, definitely. I think there's a time and a place, and we all need to be able to speak more freely. Like, we as men, especially in the United States, I feel, and it's even worse in some like geolocated areas, that we're told we have to be tough, right? We're not supposed to talk about our feelings. That's
Yeah.
not okay. Like, that's weird. And I say horse shit. Like, we need to be able to talk about our feelings. Otherwise, the suicide rates go up because people we're designed to be emotional beings.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah.
You guys just gotta take up coding. You can lose yourself for hours or days doing that. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Kind of want to, actually, because it's funny that you started telling that story, because I've been struggling here myself with this bear market. Like, financially, it's kind of going down. I'm looking at needing to get something, another way to get the income. It's funny. I've always said money's too easy to make, and then it's like, you know what? Not in a bear market. It's not.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my favorite quotes, and it's, he's become more and more of a controversial figure over time. So I don't even know. I'll credit the author, Kanye West, actually. Money's not everything, not having it is. And
Yeah,
that's something
true.
that is, yeah, it's pretty powerful. So, all right, community, I think, is, at least what we've looked to, with Nindorf and I, to, occupy our attention and to be a part of the build. And honestly, why we wanted to have you on. I mean, Ogre, you're someone that we look up to as an inspiration in terms of, both being a community contributor, a collaborator, and, tell us more about like being a developer or being inside these projects and getting community involved. um, I guess, first off, what are you working on? Dive into that a little more, and then two, like, what separates a good community from a great community?
I wish I was a developer. Do you think I'm a developer, or is that?
Well, I mean, in terms of, maybe not code, but people.
Okay, fair point. Yes, I am very much a developer of people. I suppose that'd be a very good way of looking at it. Because I've, like, ever since I was a kid, I had four younger siblings, so I was always kind of in like teaching mode.
Mm-hmm.
And then after the military, like, I was field support engineer slash platform trainer for like as a contractor for like 15 years until I left my job in December. So I mean, I've always been kind of looking to help people, and pass on knowledge. And my time there really honed in on one thing, that some people out there like to not share knowledge because it helps them get ahead and they like to succeed. As like, especially as a contractor, if you don't teach the troops, they got to keep going.
Yeah.
Um, and I was never that type of person. Like, that always irritated me, because I remember being that green suitor, stuck in some foreign country I didn't want to be in, and trying to fix my gear, and I couldn't, and I had to call for some help because it was all under warranty, and there were times where I even knew. But anyways, as far as developing people in the crypto space, I think the biggest thing is just to encourage people, right? That's one of the things that I've seen a lot in this Twitter space, is what I've been doing here recently, is people are scared to come up on stage and speak. They're too shy, or for whatever reason, people just don't want to put themselves out there. And it's natural, right? It's psychologically, it's deep. That's scary for somebody who hasn't done it. Our body is designed that when we feel fear, like, to protect ourselves from it on even a subconscious level.
Yeah.
So you have to fight that in order to get over your fears and become more than you are today. And I just think that, like, in the communities, developing people, helping encourage people that have ideas. I mean, it's easy to squash someone when they have like very outlandish ideas, but if they keep throwing outlandish ideas out there, even if it is crazy, you might want to just foster it and see where it goes, because they might not be explaining it well, or, you know what, maybe they are just kind of young with silly ideas, but eventually, with the right guidance, they're going to have some great ideas. Whereas if they're squashed, they're not going to. And one of the biggest things that I've done that I think has helped Harmony and DeFi Kingdoms over the years is try to help people see what they're doing. And that's on two parts. One is like the people that come in with negativity, and the whole FUD your bag thing, like, just help them understand what they're doing and make sure they're phrasing things well. We all need to be able to complain and talk about problems if they exist. But how you say it is more important than what you say. And then the second part of that is, like you were talking about earlier, the bear market is just horrendous on people's mental wellness.
Mm-hmm.
So we have people jumping into chats, distraught and going ham, and it to calm them down and just be like, yo, I know you're like probably not best to call them emotional, but recognize that they're emotional and be like, hey, well, what's going on, and talk them through it and help them see the other side, because where one thing is true, so is the other at all times. I firmly believe in that balance.
Yeah, yeah. So, you've been a part of, well, honestly, like way, way more projects than Neindorf or I. Um, Let me go to my second question here. What do you feel makes the difference? And selfishly, I'll kind of, maybe lead into where I'm going next is we're really excited about the opportunity to form guilds inside DeFi kingdoms. Like we feel
Huh?
like it's going to be a way for us to expand on the communal aspects of the game. So in your mind, and it doesn't have to necessarily be DeFi kingdoms, but what separates a good community from a great community, and how do the what differentiates that being great?
Leadership to a degree. I mean, because you could have a great community with awesome people that collaborate well and they talk well, but they never really get anything done because everybody's doing their own thing, right? In order for a guild or any sort of community to be great, you have to have someone that they can all point to for direction, preferably out of choice,
Mm-hmm.
right? Otherwise, that's a tyrant. But I mean, if somebody is kind of elected from the community and goes, yeah, you know what, I like what that person's saying. I want to do what they're saying. I have faith in them. Then that can turn a community around. But before even that, you've got to have a lack of toxicity, right? You can't have like somebody in there who's bitter or angry all the time, because that just brings everybody down. I'm a big believer in energy, and what you put out there is what comes back at you, but you can also be influenced by others. So if you surround yourself in a guild of people that are just angry and bitter all the time, then you're eventually going to become more angry and bitter because your friends rub off on you whether you want them to or not.
You're an
Um,
average of the people closest to you. Yeah.
yep.
Yeah, actually,
But
one of my mentors, I heard him talking to a group of people today, and one of the things that he's picked up and really preached is that in a company setting, you're either adding positively to a culture or you're subtracting from it. He believes that there's not a lot of skating in the middle. And I believe so much in what you're saying right there that toxicity, I've seen it like destroy teams, I've seen it destroy departments,
mhm.
um, and I think it certainly in in the crypto space where markets, as Neindorf knows, are open 24/7. FUD can like FUD can come in and start really affecting financial situations too, right?
100%. It can destroy a project. It could cause, you know what I've seen happen? I have seen a community force a dev to rug. Not necessarily force them to, but because I've seen it happen in several projects to where like you'll have a project and then the dev might not be the best communicator. It's a developer with the dream of making Flappy Birds by themselves out of their mom's basement or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then something goes wrong and the community turns on them and they're like, you know what, screw you guys, I'm out.
Mm.
Um, I'm not saying it's the right answer at all.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
definitely jacked, but I
I
mean,
could totally
that's
speak
the
to that.
power of a united community behind FUD. And I would go even farther and say that it's not just in the business place, that's true everywhere.
Mm.
That, I mean, that it only takes, I mean, there's a saying, there's a lot of really old sayings that there's a reason they're sayings. Like, it only takes one bad apple to spoil the bunch. Um, there's truth in that, I believe.
100% agree. And as a as a developer myself, it's a lot more art than people realize. It's a completely
Mhm.
different form of art. And if you get really into your craft, you take an appreciation, you kind of step back and you like to critique your own work. And then if someone comes in and, like you're saying, tells you that it's kind of garbage, you take that extraordinarily personally. It's very difficult at times not to. And I think that, there's some, especially in that industry, that aren't as personable as other industries, I'll say. I work with a lot of, you know, you put them in a closet, give them a problem, and they'll solve it kind of people.
Yep.
But it's hard because you got to kind of respect that they're trying to build something that they, it's a part of them too. It, flows out of you, if you will. So I think that's a great point to keep in mind.
Definitely. I mean, I've never really thought of it like that, but I 100% agree with you. Yeah, they are artists. They are creating something out of nothing and then giving it over for people to judge, essentially. And that takes a lot of courage.
Hmm.
I agree. Yeah, definitely. I can definitely see that.
So, when it comes to community, we've been really fortunate to hang out with a bunch of great people like yourself, Ogre, and our Discord has been just so enjoyable lately. Um, we've hosted, and I don't know if you've had a chance to check it out. We've hosted a few tournaments, and I say we as in a very broad sense here. We've hosted a few Fight Club tournaments. Are you aware of what the Fight Club Discord app does?
Actually, I am not.
Okay.
I saw it come out, but I never really explored it just because I've got so much on my plate. Like as much as I want to play games, I can't even really enjoy games anymore because
Oh,
I've got so much
yeah.
going on in my life. Single father of two and
Yeah.
trying to make money work right now. Like, yeah. No,
No,
I'd love to
no.
hear about it though.
Yeah, no worries cuz I'm almost at the point now where like I'm excited to be a contributor. I don't know if I can play much longer, and I know Neindorf, you're probably in the same boat too. So, Fight Club is a Discord-based combat turnstile game that it is all off-chain, but it leverages all of your DeFi Kingdom's heroes, and it uses a set of rules that govern the actions and the commands that your heroes can do, the move sets that fit thematically with the game itself.
Uh-huh.
And for actually, like Nindorf and I, we are now pretty much no longer we don't do any duels. And we're really excited that we got listed, or we're getting listed to have or activate raffle tickets here soon. And so now we'll be one of two third-party apps, DFK Arena and then Fight Club, that will be able to utilize the raffle ticket system that duels have in game right now. And we are the only game out of the three that actually where skill in your combat choices can impact your winning percentages. So we're really excited about this.
Oh, that's awesome. I
Yeah,
love it.
and
So you guys made that then?
we did not. All credit goes to, we are supporting Joseph. Is his real name? I call him Brad Pitt because his namesake in Fight Club. And so
Right.
yeah, he created the game. I kind of think back to what Neindorf was saying. Yeah, definitely an artist when it comes to, I mean, developing and designing and programming code in Discord. I didn't even know you could make a game out of Discord. Like, the entire game is run through Discord commands.
Oh
Um,
wow.
yeah, it's really neat. We'll take you through it sometime if you have some time. Um,
Heck yeah.
but yeah, where I was kind of going with this is we started streaming a few podcasts around this, and the community that has sprung forth out of like some utility on the assets that we've all come to know and love, that are our heroes that we've been painstakingly questing and leveling them up. And now as they're getting put to use, like the community is like coming out of the woodworks. It's has been so much fun to stream this live. I mean, we had like a meme battle going on during the last fight. Neindorf, yeah, share some, like, what have you loved about the community?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. And it was kind of the, as all the talk and even with the most recent announcement from the DFK team, there's been so much going on about parity. Let's get Crystal Veil parity. And, I mean, that's a great thing, but I hate to say it, it's a little boring at this point. And so I think what we kind of saw happen is, people really rallied behind this Fight Club tournament because A, it was skill based. B, it was so much fun to watch the other people's battles and see, oh, what did they choose and why, and kind of break it down. It was just it was kind of like our little sports casting kind of thing. Like we said, it's one of those things where you can get behind it. You don't even have to play and be good to watch it, and it's still kind of fun once you can see the chatter going on. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And so this has kind of been the driving force behind like the community really giving to us. We've wanted to give back to the community, and so we're announcing the formation of the Adventures in DeFi Kingdoms Guild, the ADFK Guild. And as Neindorf and I have been talking about this over the last seriously over the last month, we tried to hone in on keywords of what is the purpose of the guild. Like that was something that was paramount to us. Is are we going to be just focused on competition? Are we focused on profits? Are we focused on community? And where we ended up striking on is the intersection between having fun playing the game and playing it with other community members. And so it's kind of fun and collaboration are two guiding words that we really took into this. Although we could go the route of competition or go the route of profit, and those are important, in making sure that guilds thrive probably in the future, especially since we don't really know how guilds are going to operate in game.
Hmm.
But that's where we felt like we could latch onto these two concepts, and I mean they've served us well so far. Why don't we serve these two concepts back and kind of be servants to the game, create a structure and a community around playing, having fun playing the game, and then doing it with a bunch of people you like. Yeah, I'd love to get your kind of comments on that or any questions you have, Ogre.
I love it. 100%. I mean, it's got to be fun. That's why we're here, right? That's why we're playing games. We want to enjoy ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I try and do that with everything when I'm training and doing classes about blockchain. That's one of the big things. Like, it's got to be enjoyable. We got to cut some jokes sometimes and laugh and have a good time. Otherwise, people get bored. It doesn't matter what it is. And yeah, the collaborative nature, of course, that's a must. I love it.
Yeah.
Those are two great tenets to form a guild around.
So I'll die. This is the first time we've talked about it on the podcast. So I'll, wade into a little bit of the waters of kind of some of the structure. I'll try to stay out of it being boring and leave that to some white paper reading for any of our listeners out there who really want to check this out. But one of the things that we wanted to do is make sure that we are setting up the guild to be sustainable and support benefits and guild initiatives for our players. And so some of the things that we're thinking about, at least in the short term, as community events or group activities, and we'll kind of, some of these are a little farther along than others, but we're going to start. We've been hosting a summons night, so this has been a weekly, I'd say fairly regularly weekly event inside our community where you can bring your Gen Zeros, you can bring your heroes that you're just trying to pair together to get advanced abilities, or for some of our listeners out there, advanced genetics of the looks. I know, Ogre, you're a big visual genetics guy.
I think they're cool. I think they add a whole new level to it that I think, well, if you compare like even an advanced or elite hero with some advanced or elite genes, and you have like wings or the spiky crown, I think some of those genetics are going to end up being really desirable later on in the game.
Yeah, it just makes you fall in love with it connects you to what's otherwise bits and bytes.
Definitely. Right. Because you see it, like mine is a ninja with the spiky crown is what I chose. It was one of my heroes.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, I totally feel you there.
So the next piece is we're going to continue to host monthly PvP tournaments, and so right now we're doing that exclusively through Fight Club. But presuming there's another game on the horizon, the Wisdom Labs version of a game, we might do it there as well. At some point, we'd like to launch collaborative dueling. And so this one's way early in the development stages, but find a way to have a group guild based wallet that we can, guild members can send their strength based heroes, for example, to the wallet. And then you have the ability to send all of those heroes out on a duel.
I think that'd be awesome.
And then a Gen 1 swapping program is something else we've considered, where you have access to Gen 0 heroes and you can swap your Gen 1 summons. And so if I always make paladins and you always make dark knights, let's find a way to swap those together so that we have a really cost effective way to make dragoons.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
So that's what we kind of imagine for the guild initiatives so far. And my very fearsome 5-pound dog is barking up a storm in the level above me and probably waking up my Gen 1. So I'll be right back. You guys can stall for time.
Don't worry.
No, I mean, I think he hit the nail on the head there. Like we want to do things like that where we can each provide value back to each other, right? It's kind of that, like you said, that community cycle we want to create.
Definitely. I mean, that's a lot of people are here in Web 2 for the community side, right? And Web 3, I mean, I think that has carried over. A lot of people are looking for community that they might not find in their local neighborhood, or maybe they're just introverts. And so they don't like going out and talking to people face to face because they don't feel comfortable. But online, it opens up a whole new world for them. So yeah, no, I love it. I think those are some excellent initiatives. The one thing I would recommend is some sort of guild wallet so you can build up funds to build some of the stuff you want to build.
Yeah.
That's going to become important.
And and we've kind of hit on that a little bit. Given that guilds are going to be land centric, it seems like, we got to assume there's going to be some fairly steep costs if you're upgrading land, right? Because that's a pretty premium NFT. There's very few of them. And yeah, you're right. We got to kind of figure out systems for all of us to share and contribute so that we can get that land moving forward. That's a great point.
Yep.
Yeah, did you touch on our idea of affiliate programs at all, Dydorf?
Not yet, nope.
Oh, okay. So I'll go there next. So our idea is how do we create a financing structure that benefits our members, benefits the landowners, and benefits the guild as a whole first. And so we kind of came up with this idea of, if you can design or develop affiliate programs that we can bring into the mix, is how do we gain some economies of scale by incorporating services and helping assist other developers that are out there providing fantastic products that, whether it's quality of life or ease of use or, potential profitability in the future. So one example of that is DFK. Is it called XEarn now, or Zern, or what's it called?
XEarn. Yep.
Yeah, XEarn.
So there's the ability to do a guild wallet there where you can have your heroes automatically quested. And so we now have a guild wallet set up where if you send your heroes out to XEarn, XEarn gets a cut and a percentage, pretty hefty one. And then the ADFK guild wallet also gets one as well. And so that could be an easy way for someone who doesn't have access to botting, or someone who is skeptical about some of the other bots out there in the marketplace that require more of a trust-based system. XEarn is entirely a trustless style program. And so that's one way that I feel like, if you're looking for some of those quality of life measures, that would be a way that you could contribute, gain some time back yourself and then contribute to the guild. Another program that we have in development ourselves, Neindorf has been working on, is tournament organization. I think that's one right now, organizing tournaments in Fight Club or presumably duels or in whatever the future application has. That's really cumbersome right now. And being able to wrestle and coordinate payments, visualize brackets, track progress through the brackets, that's all stuff that's really hard, really time consuming, really manual, and ultimately stops the community from wanting to leverage their assets in battle because of how cumbersome it is. We know because we hosted a few of these tournaments, and so we're starting to develop a software that will ultimately, we believe, will be the one-stop shop for tournament organization. And it will be attached to the rest of our ADFK data out there. And so you can see your heroes. You can imagine how well they will participate inside that tournament. And then eventually we're going to do combat analytics on, how well do warriors do in a tournament? How well do thieves do in a tournament? So that's kind of the direction where we're taking that. And we're hoping that's a feature that people are really looking for.
I love it. And I think it touches on the ecosystem that I think it was Raph was discussing earlier. All of the different games that are out there now. Like, I love that about DeFi Kingdoms, and I think that's only going to continue growing to where, I mean, we no longer become reliant upon the game to give us what we need. We're creating it ourselves. I mean, we own these NFTs. We own the IP rights to them. What's to stop us from utilizing them however we want outside of the game? Right. The only time we really need permission is if you're doing something inside the game or connected to the game. But we could create our own fight or duels or whatever we want.
Yeah.
And like, I think that's great. A great way to incentivize it, a great way to maybe charge a little bit, earn some money. And what you're doing with ADFK website, I love what you're doing there. I mean, that's amazing. I use it regularly, like daily. So yeah, you guys are definitely on the right track.
Yeah, and I know we've kind of hit on this in previous podcasts, I believe, too, but I think it's worth noting, like all these quest items that we're building up, we really want, Fight Club to integrate in the future the ability to bring a potion with you that gets burnt if you use it in game, right? So we can start creating a market for these items that we're just absolutely stockpiling. And,
that's a way to raise funds right there. When it gets burned, it sends it to your community wallet.
Sure. I mean, yeah, absolutely. That's a good way to start. And I think eventually, like when you use a stand pot in game, right? You burn that and it creates that economic need for more materials. And I think that's the sort of system that this game desperately needs in order for these materials to not just slowly keep ticking down in value. And talking about tournaments is really cool because I was chatting with somebody the other day, and it's really interesting. You could theoretically make a fight to the death tournament too, where your heroes either survive or they don't survive.
High stakes.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you could go anywhere. Like you said, these NFTs, we know what the graveyard wallet is. We could send heroes there.
A real duel. Yeah. Wow.
You also pink flip them, right? And give them to the winner. Like, you're fighting for the hero you bring. If you lose, you give it up and the other person gets flips. It. Or
that's it.
Right?
Oh man, this is good. I love this. So yeah, that's kind of the gist of what we're going for. In terms of forming a community, some of the initiatives that we have. So for any of those listeners out there, feel free to jump into the Discord, ask us questions. We have a sign up link, a Google form for a sign up link going on right now. Right now there are going to be no membership fees. There likely will be some kind of form of membership fees in the future that helps create this ecosystem. And one of the ways that we're trying to perhaps alleviate that burden in the future is, maybe saying you could have a monthly membership fee, or you could quest 5 heroes in the guild quest wallet. And if you forfeit those earnings on those heroes, it covers your membership fee. So we're trying to find a way that makes it affordable and ultimately also makes it beneficial. Like, we don't want this to be a losing proposition for people either. We're hoping that if you can quest on a piece of land, like, you'll get more gold on your mining quest. And that, we're really hoping will be exciting. Oh, I just ripped out a paladin.
I'm hoping they build something like that into the land. Like, because in my mind, if guilds are tied to land, there should be some sort of advantage. Like, if you build your land up faster than other guilds, you should have advantage. So hopefully there will be some sort of mechanism like that built into the game at some point. But I mean, building a game takes a long time, so who knows when it'll happen, if it does happen, right? But yeah, that'd be cool for being a guild membership. Somehow you can gain some sort of extra rewards to help offset it somehow.
Well, right. And then, conferring with your community, because I gotta assume there's going to be, minimal spaces on this land. You're not going to be able to build everything, right? And like
Right.
maybe the guild's like, hey, we could build a mini portal and get cheaper summoning costs. And everybody's like, yeah, that's what we want. And you kind of can, hold votes even and say, where does the guild want us to take our land?
Yeah. Or maybe you could have a better hatchery, or you could have
Right.
a visual stylist that lets you edit your visual genes on your Gen Zeros. Yeah, I think there's so many ways this could go and be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, I mean maybe even like ways to stake your hero or something, and that earns you something passively, but then that token can be utilized in game to maybe buy like a 3D replica of your hero or some crazy stuff.
Oh
That you
man.
can 3D print or get swag, sell merch, and you get a discount off the merch if you've got more like over 1,000 ADFK tokens or something like that. You get a 10% discount.
Yeah,
Uh,
love
I
that.
mean, if you're going to create a token, you definitely need to make sure it has utility. That's the big key there, and that's why this stuff's going down, because it takes time to build a game, right? So they've created the basics, all the building blocks for crafting, but they're still working on crafting because that wasn't high priority, or as high as some of the other things, anyways. And so, I mean, eventually we'll see the use case come about. I think they're pretty savvy about that. It seems like the economy side, Dreamer definitely has that nailed down, I believe.
I
Yeah,
I
it,
totally agree.
it was just a huge segue, the Harmony to Clayton thing. It's like, I think they did a good thing. They have the best interest of the game. It's just, that did take them away from the roadmap a little bit, but that's expected. Nothing ever goes to plan. It's as soon as you put a plan together and start executing it, something always falls apart.
Yep.
Always, every time. I mean, it was a very common thing in the military. It was like, yeah, plan's only good until the first round flies at you, and then everything goes to shit.
Oh
uh,
yeah,
Take it punch in the
and,
mouth.
and
yep,
think on the
so
fly. How well can you think on the fly, right?
that right there.
Mm-hmm. So jumping over onto YouTube chat right now, and Crypto Grady is reminding me of a question that I kind of unelegantly going to segue to. So here I am. Um,
What's up?
Midwest meetup. You're a Midwestern guy, aren't you?
I'm just outside of Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay,
So it
okay,
depends
All
all
upon
right.
right.
how widely you describe Midwest.
So we
Uh,
live in southeastern Iowa, and Grady, one of our critical guild members, lives over, I believe, in St. Louis. Um, he'll jump in and I'm sure correct me if I'm wrong, but he's reminding me to ask you. Yeah, we need to have some kind of DeFi Kingdoms Midwest meetup. I know you went
Definitely.
to ETH Denver, Neindorf. It just coincided with a work trip that you had
that's right.
sometime last year. I mean, we gotta coordinate something like this around some kind of other conference. That would be awesome.
I don't even need a conference. I
There you
love
go.
road tripping. Like I got
Nice.
family in Denver, Colorado. I got family in Boston, Massachusetts. I got family in DC. I drive to all of them.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
definitely down. I'm all about meeting people and having a good time in real life as well as online.
Okay. All right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And here's
I
a
love that
question,
attitude.
huh? What if we were to take it to the next level and create like a VR space that we could all hang out in? Would
Ooh,
that be
Ooh,
interesting?
that would be interesting.
I could get behind that.
I might know a guy.
Okay.
I'm not surprised.
All
That's
right.
awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Take a look at that and let us know how that works. I a little inept when it comes to VR space. I have no virtual equipment of any sort, but that sounds really exciting.
You don't really, honestly, I mean, the VR stuff will still work on the computer. It's just
Oh sure,
cooler if you got the glasses and everything on,
the
of course.
headset. Yeah.
But it's not
Or
necessary. You're still in that room. You're talking. You're hanging out, and you have like humanoid characters at least.
Yeah.
When you put the goggles on and stuff, you can almost get lost in it, and it feels quite real. But without them, like you can still enjoy each other's company. I don't know. And plus, it brings the whole ability to put stuff up on the walls, and like you could have duels where there's two screens back to back, and they're standing 3 feet from each other in VR, and everybody's gathered around them, running back and forth to see who's got what and what's going on next.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Jordy saying he's from in chat Midwest baby Michigan here. Um, Divine Digital saying he's from Alaska. All right, well that's going to be a tough meet and greet, but
Love to go
let's
there. That
let's
would be
plan it.
awesome.
2025 Alaska meet and greet. There it is.
Once we get to the next bull and we're all riding high, we
Yeah,
can make it
yeah.
work.
We'll buy tickets then.
Get a fishing trip going on up there or something like that.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah, for sure. Well, that's about all I had for the regular programming tonight. Anything else you wanted to touch on, Neindorf? I'll go to you first.
Not anything specific. Like you said, we're working on a lot here in the lab. We'll get back to you guys shortly once we get some stuff, past prototype phase and maybe into a workable solution here. So stay tuned.
Yeah, all right. Ogre, I appreciate your advice on communities as always. Obviously, it should go without saying, but we look up to you when it comes to community development. So excited to have you on the podcast where we get to talk about that. Um, any closing comments or things you want to talk about tonight?
Well, if you want to really see me in action, I'll be trying to develop and merge kind of 4 communities tomorrow afternoon, um, right after the AMA in that Twitter space. So
Awesome,
I would
awesome.
welcome everybody to come in there and show out for DeFi Kingdoms. I know Bolin's going to be there and kind of talk a little bit about it. And these are mostly straight up like NFT degens. Um, so I don't want to talk too much about like utility because in my mind that's what drew me to games in the first place was the NFTs that had utility, and with the NFT communities, like it was harder to see that. Now I'm seeing the utility now. It's almost like buying into a fraternity sorority, essentially, because there's some very interesting people in there, like millionaires and successful business owners and like really good traders have bought into this, and they're all in that DGen community. So it's definitely an interesting group of people, and there's a lot there. There's definitely a lot of good people in there as well, just as there are in most communities.
Yeah. And
Um,
we follow you at LTC Yeti, right?
Correct.
Okay, I will drop that your Twitter handle in the YouTube chat, and yeah, that's an awesome idea and opportunity for our listeners out there. So thank you for that.
Yeah, no worries, man. It's really all about being patient and diplomatic. That's the biggest thing. That, and then looking for ways to connect people, keeping in mind what people need, and then finding somebody who can do that, and then connect them, and get out of the way and watch awesome stuff happen.
I I love it. It's I and when you can can work together and work as a team, it's just that easy too.
Yes, sir. Yes, it is.
All
Yep.
right. Well,
And if I could, real quick, just
oh
thank
yeah.
everyone one more time for the massive show of support. Like y'all definitely. I've had a lot on my mind these last couple of days trying to figure out bills and money because the money is running out, and you
Yeah.
guys don't even know what you did for me. It completely changed my world. Just a massive show of community support was. I can't even describe it. It was amazing. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you, and I guess it's the least we can do, and of course, yeah, work a community. That's what we do. We show up for each other. So yeah, awesome. And thank you for opening up as well. I know that's something that I know I want to spend some more time with our podcast in the future. Dedicated to the topic. I know Tosh did a mental health podcast. Um, sometime last. No, was it earlier this year? I don't know. Years run together now for me when it comes to
Has he
crypto.
actually? Has he started it? I know he sent the farewell message that like he was going to kick that off, but I didn't follow up there. I don't know.
I know he did one a while ago before that, before he kind of
Uh,
took a hiatus, and that was it was very impactful for me.
That
And
was a
by the way,
good one, no
shout out
doubt.
Jade on Twitter as well. We had her as one of our guests. Also did a mental health podcast as well. Another amazing follow in the crypto space. Someone who's wise beyond her years. So I'll drop her Twitter. And she is a DeFi Kingdoms player, not as much as she used to be. And I was giving her some flack that she has a new namesake token now, so she's got to capitalize on that.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for all of our listeners out there. We really appreciate it. Thank you, Neindorf. Thank you, Ogre. Really appreciate you having joining us and jumping on. And this has been fun.
It was an honor. Thanks for asking me.
All right. Take care,
Thank you.
everyone.
Blessed. Bye.